Can I curse? People are caught up with their own shit. When you're 29 and stressing about, I'm going to be 30, I might be seen as an old maid. I would rather that you're 31 and still discerning and single rather than get hastily hitched at 30. And in one quadrant, you have the Tinders and then a Bumble trying to be an alternative to the Tinder. Interestingly, Sundar Pichai and I took physics lessons in the same classroom.
Is it? The way you are describing your own journey feels a lot more human. And it feels like this is a story that's happening all around us.
In a pitch deck, I don't need a pitch deck anymore because I can tell VCs and say, screw you.
Hi, this is Amrut. We are at IIT Madras, my alma mater, and India's top university for people who like to build. We are here to meet some builders, ask them, what are you building? What does it take to build? And what makes IIT Madras the best place to build? Hello and welcome to the Best Place to Build podcast. Today we are sitting with Anil. Anil Kumar is a very different kind of founder. He runs a service called Jodi365. It's a personalized matchmaking service and he's been running it for 15 plus years. He was a student here from 1990 to 1994. Welcome to the podcast, Anil.
Thanks, Amrut. Yeah, pleasure to be here. Especially here at IITM.
Yes. By the way, today is reunion day, so a lot of alumni are there.
I know this. Class of 2000, there are at least a couple of people in my network from there. I meant to check with them, but I might just still do that.
Okay. So, Anil, tell us about your startup and what is, do you call it a startup still?
No, not after all of these years. I founded this in 2009 in Chicago, in the home stretch of my MBA program at the University of Chicago, the Booth School of Business. And it's for many years now that I've been describing myself as not an entrepreneur, but as a businessman. I say that I run a growing business, still a small business, a small growing business. Jodi365 is a matchmaking platform and service. It began as a platform with personalized service being an option. We pivoted into a fully personalized service. So we spare people the searching, the screening, and the curating. We do the heavy lifting. And we present these pre-screened curated matches to people on a regular basis. We help people find their life partner at a pace that's right for them. Some people may be ready for marriage in the near term. Some people may be comfortable with the idea of getting married, but not rushing into the formal process. They may prefer to get to know somebody over time. They may be okay with an engagement. Some others may say, back off, no pressure. I'd like to get to know someone as friends first. So wherever they are on their readiness, on the readiness spectrum, we help them find the right partner.
Nice. I got married many years ago, so I have no idea of what the problems or the anxieties of younger people are. I can see that people are quite worried in general about finding a partner. But can you describe the problem to us? Like, what are you solving for?
Yeah, so I'd say that it's not a search problem. There are enough singles out there. It's more of figuring out who's right for you. And it's hard when people are well-educated, accomplished, they have some aspirations, and they may not have the bandwidth to put themselves out there. And it takes putting oneself out there. And if you are to put yourself out there, you're not sure of multiple things. What, are you to go scanning people's fingers to see whether there's a ring on it? Someone may not have a ring and still be taken. Someone may not have a ring and just not be open to the idea. So how is one to go about figuring out who may be a potential partner? And before that, I'll even rewind one step. I've had the good fortune of running a business that I've not had to evangelize, as in, please think about EdTech. We are offering education solutions online. For as long as humans have existed, humans have sought to get into relationships. We are wired to pass the genes on to the next species, to the next generation. We are wired for companionship. So I've not had to sell the case that this is a problem worth solving. It's just a question of how effectively you solve the problem. Online options are convenient. They are like watering holes where you know that singles congregate. but not necessarily only singles congregate. So when you get into these watering holes, you're not sure who's genuine, who is fake. Even if somebody is genuine, how serious they are. Even if they are serious, what their intent is. Is it for the long term? Is it for short term that may evolve into the long term? Or is it because they are bored or horny on a weekend? How do you figure this out? So in a way, we are like a concierge. We are many things. But one of the things is we are a concierge. You can order your meals and it comes to your door. You can order your groceries and even get things couriered to you within the same city across neighborhoods. In a way, we bring pre-screened matches to somebody who may be busy. We tell them, live your best life, beta. Let us do the heavy lifting and spare you the effort of even figuring out all those unknowns. Are they genuine? Are they real? Are they serious? Do they have intent? Do they have interest? People underestimate the value of having someone to be a trusted intermediary to ask the hard questions that you may be too polite to ask. Okay, so he seems to be sorted, but yeah, he's an entrepreneur. How's he doing financially? A woman would want to know if a guy is sorted. Even if it's a young man, he'd want to know how is she doing professionally or what's her personal background like. How many skeletons in her closet? She may wonder what's his life story like. Personal questions that we wouldn't even feel comfortable asking. But somebody who does this professionally can take it as their responsibility to ask the difficult questions, spare you the awkwardness of asking the difficult questions, uncomfortable questions, spare you the misery of fielding sensitive questions or outright insensitive questions. Beyond bringing matches to you, getting this additional information, facilitating the exchange of sensitive information. Beyond that, making personal introductions. Beyond that, remaining in the background to make sure that there's no communication snafu, there's no communication mix-up, there's no communication breakdown, so that people are talking and getting to know each other. And if there isn't that much enthusiasm on one side or both sides, being able to call it out and say, look, you're better off focusing on the one who may be right for you. You go on and focus on someone who may be right for you.
Right.
And with all the gray hair, for me to be able to come in and play the role of a guide, a counselor, help people navigate the emotional roller coaster. So I say the best word is matchmaker. That's what I do, connecting people.
Very interesting. We have this notion of a meet cute kind of story from movies where everything just happens in a flash. But you're saying that it's a long process and it would really help to have somebody on your side.
Yeah. And see, generations ago, you had the tribe doing this. You had not just the immediate family. In our culture, people are incentivized to help the next generation find somebody who may be right for them. And today's 20s and 30s, the 20s, 30s generation is not averse to the idea of an arranged marriage or a semi-arranged marriage, but they like to have this sense of agency, understandably. Earlier, you had not just the nuclear family, but even the extended family who would think that, oh, okay, beti badi ho rahi hai, use that Hindi expression. Young woman's coming of age, young man's also settling down professionally. Shall he start getting the word out? So they get dragged to these weddings and all dolled up and announcements are made subtly. Hey, he's grown up, he's doing well, she's doing well. We're
all the Navratris and the Diwali festivals,
So much value for these kinds of functions. I attended a client's 80th birthday celebration in the family just last night. These are great occasions to bring the folks out and to let the word get out in subtle manners. These days, everybody's caught up with their own. Can I curse? People are caught up with their own shit. And they're also wary that, look, if we make some introductions and it goes south, we don't want all the grief
to come
to us. So we wish you well, good luck. We'll think about it. We'll let you know if there's somebody. And even families, they are a little concerned as in, look, I'm not sure. I don't get it these days. I don't know what you Gen Z, what you millennials want. Sure, if you find somebody, let us know. If they pass our sniff test, we'd be all supportive. I'd like to put it this way, that people say that there's an India shining, but there's also an India drowning. It's a case of two Indias. I say, no, it's a case of who knows hundreds and thousands of Indias. And people at different socioeconomic strata, different socio-cultural backgrounds, different levels of whether they are conservative or liberal. There are so many pendulums swinging in this maddeningly fascinating society at different time lengths, different scales, bouncing about, clashing, and not quite connecting. Wheels of change keep progressing, so it's no surprise that there's been room for somebody like me to come in to draw on all my lessons learned, all of my pain and suffering that motivated me to start a different kind of solution.
Very interesting. I want to ask you about the different kind of solution. You're saying that this is an old problem. Society anyway is incentivized to couple young people up. Maybe it's changed over the years on how the process of coupling happens and how people find each other. And at least in the last 15, 20 years, technology has had a huge impact, right? So is it a technology-driven solution? Have I heard of AI-based matchmaking now? I don't know how that works. Would love to hear how that has moved in the last 10, 15 years with sort of technology falling in.
Yeah.
And of course, in our country, Shaadi.com and Bharat Matrimony are the largest, right? And they were tech businesses. So
Sure.
And they're old now. Each of them is 20 years old?
Late 90s is when they came on the scene. Maybe early noughts, they sort of started scaling.
Yeah. So how has it changed from then to now? And what is the impact of technology? And what is your opinion of AI in this space?
Yeah. So I see 3 questions over there. Technology I see as an enabler, and I don't see it as new. People forget, and when you study something, you think about how there was a time when the automobile was technology. People think about, in India, there's been this concept of arranged marriage. Now you have these messaging apps, which take away the stigma of, I like this neighbor, I like somebody I cross paths with, but there'd be too much attention if I go and approach, even if I had the courage to go and approach a woman and shoot my shot. There are these challenges in the offline world, whereas you have the anonymity of messaging apps or these dating apps. Even Instagram is a proxy for dating apps these days. This is not new. People forget that you have the concept of arranged marriage even in the US. How many people are aware of it? In the 19th century, you'd have these suitors from out of town would be invited, would be boarded at home. And the good ones would even be allowed to share a bed with the bride-to-be. And there would be a plank placed in between the two. Origins of the term boarding. People don't realize that. And what is the technology enabler there? When the automobile came on the scene, you were no longer limited to picking from among the best clown in town, right? You could go beyond your village, beyond your community. And when you had phones, you had the means of long distance communication. So here, it's just a sign of the times that you're able to cast a wider net because of the convenience of technology. It's a double-edged sword though, because with technology, with these online watering holes, and I like to describe these matchmaking sites and apps as watering holes. At a minimum, it lets you know that whoever else is at this watering hole is also single and wants to drink from the pond. The danger is, could they be a wolf in sheep's clothing? And all kinds of wolves and vultures and snakes and frogs, I like to say. It's a jungle out there. Is it a safe space? Are there some guardrails to make sure that you don't have these wolves coming to the watering hole? Are they genuinely single? Where do I even begin to talk about some of the challenges with technology? There's also, even if people may come with good intent, there is this paradox of choice. You think that options are plenty, and people are hesitant to commit. People are hesitant to invest in somebody, thinking that, what are the next person, the next profile that I might get to swipe might be better than option A. There are so many lessons that need to be repeated for each generation that it's not enough to find the right partner. Even though it's in my best interest to paint this notion of a soulmate and all that BS, I don't believe that there is one single person who's our soulmate. We can gel with a lot of people because it's not about just finding the right partner, but being the right person for each other. You've been in a marriage of maybe a decade now? You can reflect on how you grow together and if you had paired up with another person, pair bonded with another person, you might be a different person because it's about being the right person for her and her adapting to being the right person for you. Let me be careful over here so that I don't make it a winded philosophical reflection on technology. And I will park here though, because you also talked about AI. I see a second wave of AI in matchmaking these days, thanks to all the progress in recent years with LLMs. If you'd asked me some years earlier, I would have been outright dismissive of AI. Or at least AI, the way it was being painted, AI matchmaking. I would say that there was a lot of BS in the name of AI.
Can I just ask you here? In the previous wave, you would look at this sort of like this list of parameters.
Yeah.
And you would do like parameter checking,
Sure.
right? That was the last wave of
Sure.
like how like used cars kind of approach.
Yeah. And I've had investors, I've had hardcore tech evangelists in my tribe who challenged me, why am I not hyping up all the deep tech inside our platform under the hood? I'm proud of the tech that we built, but then I tell people that and I remind my teammates that we're not a technology company. We are a human-centered services company because we are offering solutions. They don't come because we have the sexiest website or the coolest tech. They come because of, hey, can you solve my problem?
Yeah.
I remind them that we are a solutions company, not a technology company. And yet, I say that we swim in so much data, there's so much gold in it. The matching engine, while we're a personalized service in our recent avatar, Jodi365, and it's only the flagship platform. It's not the only brand. It's not the only platform that we have. We have a portfolio of products and brands. At its core, it's powered by a robust matching engine, a graph database powered matching engine.
Matching engine, right.
So we can comb through millions of possibilities in a blink of a second. I didn't see any sense in hyping it up because that's not what people come for. Today, the right way to say it is that we are an app-enabled personalized matchmaking service. But with the advent of these LLMs, I see value in human intervention along the lines of what I do in the real world as Mr. Matchmaker. People, Anil Uncle to many, as a confidant, as a sounding board, as somebody with patient ears, as somebody who holds a mirror to young singers and older singers, whether they are never married, divorced, dealing with custody battles, dealing with the loss of a spouse, dealing with difficult parents or family members. I see when I get challenged on, okay, this is value that you're offering as a personalized service. It's high touch. How do you scale it? I see value in cloning myself. I see value in enabling a digital twin inside Jodi365. Because there's a lot of counseling that I do. I have to be careful about using the word counseling because I'm not a mental health professional. I'm not a licensed counselor. There's a lot of counsel that I provide that is much appreciated. And to the extent that in this new wave of AI apps, people are talking about an AI matchmaker, I see value in it. Otherwise, you're just combing through what is like an online catalog of profiles, swiping right, swiping left endlessly. You are not conditioned to look beyond these two-dimensional screens and profiles. And no wonder you have this backlash against these casual dating apps or even the serious apps, which don't encourage you to look beyond a two-dimensional profile. You have swiping fatigue. So to the extent that there is investment made into understanding who you are as a person, what makes you tick, what your values are, what your interests are, what your aspirations are, what your partner preferences are, what your must-haves are versus what your nice-to-haves are. The kind of investment that we make upfront and through the process, because nothing is baked in stone. Preferences are fungible. You may want something else tomorrow. You may have to course correct. To the extent that you have a smart machine that can do it with artificial intelligence, there's value in it. And I might take us there too.
That's very interesting. I'm also thinking that on the platforms which don't offer a personalized service, which are catering on scale, AI may have a significant negative impact because it allows people to change their picture, pretend to be better articulated than they are, hype themselves up using ChatGPT. So you can't even trust somebody's picture now.
And which is why, again, if you want to productize something, you can put garbage out there and you have scale. There'll be a lot of collateral damage, but the needle may still be moving for your company, for your investors. And as an industry, we might get a bad rap. It might work for a lot of people, but I have consciously chosen to operate differently, recognizing that this is a human problem that we are solving and we should need to come in with empathy. And it's not just in matchmaking the problem. Even with recruiting, at my company, we are constantly recruiting. And I'm still hands-on. We don't trust the written applications anymore.
Yeah.
Because
you don't know whether it's AI or human.
We have a sniff test and we don't even feel the need to plug into these AI detectors. But we are very clear about this. If you use ChatGPT, that's ground for instant disqualification. People have to be careful. And partly why within Jodi365 from an early stage, before there are a lot of things that we took the lead in, before the likes of Uber came along with masked phone calls so that you can call the driver without compromising your phone number. Within Jodi365, we enabled calling between potential matches without compromising your phone number. We're talking a decade and a half ago. Before the likes of these online dating apps came up with means to verify profiles with a selfie, we baked in video verification that is recorded through the app. So it's not that you can upload a picture, you can upload a photo ID, anything can be Photoshop. And with AI, but good luck having a camera record you in real time, having the AI morphing. No. So we would ask people to take a 5-second selfie that stays hidden, but allows us to vet that this profile is genuine, this person is real.
I get what you're saying. You're saying it's the service is inherently human. The problem is really old. The solution is really critical. But there's a lot of technology that goes under the hood. And there is a place for AI. And I think earlier you said you could use it in a good way, in a thoughtful way, but you could also use it in a sort of a mass market, get it out of the door.
Reckless way,
right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. I have known you for so many years. We were together in some alumni forums, and I think we met again in Sangam this year, which was the big alumni party. Batch of 94 was there, overrepresented, I felt.
95 more so. Yeah.
Okay.
And for good reason.
I mean, what a batch, right? Let's dial back a bit. Can you tell me about your schooling, your IIT days? For me also, it's nice to hear how the early 90s were.
Yeah. Thanks for asking. And I say that we are our stories. And the older that I've gotten, the more appreciation that I've got for my story. I grew up in Chennai, Chennai boy out and out. Even though I was born in Hyderabad, my parents moved here from the time that I was a baby. And I'd like to share this because it's so much about also what is Chennai, the perception of Chennai. It's a lot different than the Madras in which I grew up. I'm 53, right? So you could say I'm a kid of the 80s, early 80s, from the time that I have my earliest memories. I come from a multicultural home. My father passed away a few years ago, a South Indian Brahmin from Kerala. My mother, a Sindhi from pre-partition Karachi, and came over safely on a steamer from Karachi to Mumbai, and her family made Calcutta their home. And my parents met and fell in love at the workplace in the Calcutta of the 60s. My eldest brother was born there. Family then moved to Kanpur, Lucknow, and then Hyderabad, where they lived for several years. My other brother and I were born there. And my father got another opportunity in Chennai. And I would feel for my poor mom, for whom English was a second language. She didn't know English before she was 15, 16 in Mumbai. And Tamil, a third language at best. And to relocate to the Madras of the mid-70s was tough for her. Different food, different language, different customs. But such a cosmopolitan city. I used to get grief from my cooler cousins in Kolkata. Oh, you sleepy city, Madras. Look at Calcutta. And I think
Switched around now.
no, but even other way. Oh, sad. I feel for Calcutta.
Yeah.
What a glorious city that has just decayed over the last 3-4 decades. But I may be biased, and I'd still say that Chennai probably has the best quality of life for a big city in the country. Hyderabad may come close. I don't know if Pune may have some backers, but there are so many things that are not so good about Delhi. I challenge my friends. Why would you want to live in a gas chain?
Yeah, it's terrible.
There's so much that Chennai has to offer. No surprise that it's ranked in New York Times' top 50 cities to see twice for the culture on maybe a Nat Geo list of top 10 foodie cities in the country.
I know people give Chennai a lot of flack, but my time in Chennai was lovely. I really loved it. I've now moved out. I spent 20 years here. Yeah, great air, great roads.
Yeah. Education, culture.
Yeah. And we are in the middle of Margari season, so.
Yeah. When I attended school here at one of the good schools in town. And growing up, this was a time when if somebody was bright at school, doing well at school, either engineering or medicine, the 2 tracks with blinders. And if you were not bright, the third part, the good for nothings, would study commerce. Yeah. What a pity. And there are so many smart folks who have a flair for numbers, and they go into accounting and pursue BCom and beyond, CA and banking, and who knows whatever else opens up for them. I had this affinity for engineering, maybe the influence of a bright cousin who was a decade older, who studied at what is now one of the NITs. He attended what is in one of the RVCEs, Regional College of Engineering, RECs, and didn't know much about the IITs. I remember vaguely noticing these classified ads for one of the coaching factories. There was a brilliant tutorials in the late 80s, not knowing what the JE was, these fancy acronyms. It was an eye-opener for me when I may have been in class 11 or 12 and was very much into the inter-school cultural competition scene, participating in quizzes, general knowledge quizzes, science quizzes, even cultural competitions, dumb charades. And there was an event at IIT Madras campus on the occasion of what is called the Day of 5 billion. May have been a United Nations promoted event when the population was about to hit 5 billion. Their way of raising awareness that, probably too many people around. I'm not a fan of these doomsday prophets. I remember in the mid-80s, oil is going to run out by 2005, and it seemed way out there, but I'm more of an optimist. But I'm glad that there was that occasion that brought me to campus, and I remember feeling as if I was in Wonderland. And I thought that, wow, this is the IIT that they speak of, one of the IITs that they speak of. It became my dream to walk through the portals of this institution. And
but that first visit to campus, because you walk through the trees and you take a bus or whatever, you go through the trees and you see the wildlife. It's just hits you in a different way, right?
Yeah. Neither of my parents attended college. Imagine that. And here I've gone on to earn a bachelor's, BTech from IIT Madras,
and then to Chicago booth.
But that came much later. So I'll sort of compress my journey. I posted just last night. I have an alphabet soup of credentials: BTech, MS, PhD, a professional engineer license in the US, and then an MBA.
Oh, you're a professional engineer, licensed engineer?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I had the professional engineer license, which meant that I had to demonstrate that I had competence in my discipline, and was also practicing under the apprenticeship of trained professionals. So my journey was, setting sights on this, plodding my way through it, not wanting to go through the tutorial model or these pre-internet postal classes where booklets would be sent by mail. You'd have to send in your answers, test prep kind of service. I took lessons from college professors who offered math coaching, physics coaching, chemistry coaching. I didn't imagine. I thought that I could get by without chemistry tuition the first time. And I needed 2 attempts at JEE to get through.
You had 2 attempts?
I had
back
2 attempts.
in 90.
My first attempt was in 1989 when I finished high school. And was bummed out that I didn't get through. But in reality, I was underprepared. And it was tough for me, tough for many of us then. I didn't care about school. And for me, it was either IIT or nothing. Some of it may be my personality, all or nothing.
Yeah.
It's either this or nothing else. My parents, loving, invested parents, were horrified when I said that, no, I'm not going to attend any other college. It's either IIT or nothing for me. And I remember my father especially getting grief from some of his siblings. Hey, this is the padips in the family. Tamil slang for the
Padips. How do you
Studious.
translate padips?
studious.
Is it?
Studious.
I feel it has more
Padip is
layers.
study. It
Okay.
has, it's a negative, pejorative, right? Oh, padips. There are enough ways in which I can demonstrate that I'm more than padips. So I wear it as a badge.
Nerdy.
Nerd,
Maybe,
yeah,
yeah.
nerd equivalent. And he's the one, my middle brother flunked out of school. My eldest brother's college education was disrupted. He was 5 years older, went to the US and on an invitation from an elder uncle, and who suggested, hey, why don't you stay on here? We can get you on a student visa. And he began college in New York, but then he fell ill and didn't quite make the visa transition. So he came back and was bedridden for months, jaundice, got a relapse. So he lost a year after a year of college. But then to his credit, he went back and finished his degree in accounts and economics from Queens College in New York. And my middle brother got so much grief, and I talk about how he went on to attain once-in-a-generation success. So to my parents' credit, they allowed us to blossom, grow in whichever direction we saw fit. And this was my chosen path, and they trusted that, yeah, Ziddi hai. He's a stubborn as a mule. But that same quality gets manifested as determination, as perseverance. So I persevered, got a rank the next year. It's JEE. And still feeling bummed out because the most that I could, the only option that I could get at IIT Madras was naval architecture. And I didn't even know, what is this thing, naval architecture? Yeah, sure, it's an engineering discipline, but ships have been made for as long as civilization has existed. Which, to talk about Chennai and Chennai culture, the Cholas are renowned for their expertise with shipbuilding, and that's what allowed them to go and conquer so many kingdoms and lands in Southeast Asia. How did this Angkor Wat show up in distant Cambodia?
That is true. India was the leading shipbuilding nation till the British came and systematically destroyed our ports and our ability to build ships, and basically fined the hell out of us if we built any ships ourselves.
Among
we had
other
to use
industries.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. Oh, but they built the railway tracks for us. Yeah.
And we are supposed to be grateful.
Yeah. Oh, I told you that I would come. I would not hesitate to unleash, but I don't have a bone to pick against any one species. There's a good, the bad, the ugly in every tribe.
Yeah, I also feel like since Britain is not doing great as a nation now, it feels a little weird to pick on them.
And to be fair, the tribal instinct is in all of us.
Yeah.
Now, if we could, we would have gone out and conquered as well. So somebody had the better guns and steel, so they conquered. Good for them. Back to my journey.
So you were naval. You joined the naval architecture.
And thinking that, oh my goodness, what will I do beyond this? Oddly enough, I was one of the only 2 folks maybe in my graduating class who persevered, who stayed on in the industry. I went on to get a PhD, so additional 6 years, and I went on to work at a marine consulting for another 7 years in that.
Okay.
So I gave 2 decades of my life to this discipline, while coming in with the intent that I will work hard to get in the top 10% of my class at the end of the first year, so that I could qualify for what is still known as a branch change to get out of naval architecture. and the extent to which we go. I so loved campus life, but found it so distracting and didn't do very well in my first semester. And I thought that there's so much fun on campus and the clean fun, so many activities, sports and games. I was long and physically fit and into sports. Cricket was a boyhood passion and just the camaraderie on campus. So while retaining my hostel room in the second semester, I chose to be a day scholar. I had that privilege. I had a meal plan at the hostel mess at the time. Every hostel had a cafeteria, unlike the centralized cafeterias these days. I had an uptick in my GPA, but not enough to get a branch in. So I thought, okay, so this is it. Huh? All right. One of the sage pieces of advice that I got from somebody who tutored me for chemistry for JEE stuck with me, which is that, more important than what you do is being the best in whatever you do. So that was his way of comforting me. Beta, so what is the naval architecture? Be the best that you can be. And I thought, I'll be the best that I could be. So I worked hard to be among the top of my peers in naval architecture. It was a small cohort. There were 15 people who were admitted, the class size 10. I was shocked to learn that the incoming cohort size is 75 today. So good for the country that there is this investment in infrastructure. There's this
this is the resurgence.
Shipbuilding. And
I want to
space
say
tech.
though that I know we give grief to naval architecture as a branch compared to other branches. But the minute you walk into a shipyard or you walk into a dock and you see all these gigantic structures and being built and or an aircraft carrier or something, it's just something magnificent about it, right? Overwhelming size of engineering and achievement of engineering.
I'm not the best ambassador for this. If I am to be true to myself, I can tell you that while I was in marine consulting, I was a little dispirited. That's the right word. Because I felt that my ambitions were greater and my desired footprint was far broader than could be realized within my narrow domain of expertise. And I wanted to broaden my footprint. All as part of this foolish desire to leave a legacy, make my own little dent in the universe and have it be beyond this narrow footprint. There's a recurring theme over here, which has to do with my transition away from academia into consulting, away from consulting into matchmaking. And it dates to how I was in my third year, and that's when you had to give thought to what next in life. And I remember giving grief to some of my classmates who were taking a crack at just about everything, wanting to hold on to optionality. Oh, and I loved to amplify a lovely commencement speech and a companion essay by a professor at Harvard, Mihir Desai, A Case Against Optionality. And he says that you're better off pursuing alpha, the investment terminology, better at pursuing alpha than retaining multiple options. Not different from the advice from medieval days, which is when you're going out to conquer a land and you reach there, you hit a beachhead, burn the boats, no going back, pursue alpha. There's so much merit to it.
And I want to tie it back to what you said when we were talking about your service.
Yeah.
About how young people sometimes meet one person and they're getting along, but they still have this feeling of what if there's somebody better for it.
You got to invest.
Land your boats, burn your boats.
Burn your boats. But careful not to burn your bridges. That's a different expression.
Fair enough.
Yeah, be good. Allow me to dwell on this. So you had people taking the gate to get into MTech at IIT. You had people taking the GMAT to pursue an MBA right out of undergrad. I so advise against doing an MBA right out of college. An MBA is something that is enriched by experience, work experience. Otherwise, it will be all theory. So go out, work for at least a few years. And then there were people who were applying for grad school in the US in engineering and the sciences. That is what motivated me the most, because I thought about what's the best thing that I could do with my life, which is to make some contributions, advance humanity in some chosen field, in my field. By then, I'd taken an interest in hydrodynamics. So I thought, let me pursue that for a career. Let me that's what I aspired to, write the next Bible in marine hydrodynamics. So worked hard to get into the best programs in my field. I say this with pride. Got admits into MIT, Berkeley, Michigan. Applied to 10 programs, got admitted into all. But it was important for me to have my studies fully funded, not just tuition be waived, but also get an assistantship. Had just 3.5 offers. Berkeley offered me a fellowship, but it wasn't going to cover all expenses. I was headed to the University of Maryland for a straight PhD, but got jitters, as in here I'm committing to a path. You do a PhD and that's your terminal degree that decides what beyond. I'm not even sure what's the expertise of this professor that I've been picked to train under. I felt more comfortable taking a two-step path to PhD and beyond, getting a master's along the way.
Okay.
So I got a master's from the University of Iowa, specializing in computational ship hydrodynamics, essentially coming up with computational models to simulate fluid flows, in this case around ships, to predict waves generated by ships so that you can help to minimize the signatures of ships so that these signatures are not spotted by satellites. A lot of the funding in the US would be from the Office of Naval Research.
Okay.
Yeah, the equivalent. The Department of Navy had an Office of Naval Research, which would pump in as much as they needed to. And just as you've had stealth bombers, you also have stealth ships, naval combatants, minimize their signatures. And not just to minimize wave signatures, also to predict the powering requirements of ship. Ships are essentially wave makers. As you press forward, you're generating these waves. So if you have better, sleeker hull forms, you have lower powering requirements. And traditionally, how would this be done? How would you come up with fairer, sleeker designs? You have wind tunnels in which you test F1 cars. Look at F1, right? How many hundreds of millions of dollars are spent by racing teams to improve their technology every year? You have aircraft also that are tested in wind tunnels. The equivalent for ships are towing tanks, these tanks that are maybe 100 meters long, in which you have these scaled wooden models, wax models, that would be towed, and you would measure the resistance required to tow that through water. And then you think about, let's chamfer it a little bit over here, let's pair it a little bit over here to improve the design. How laborious. Computers are what? Glorified workhorses. If you come up with a way, you think of the equations that model fluid flows, think of a way to discretize these equations that can be fed into a computer, come up with a model to solve those equations. You're essentially simulating the flow of these natural processes.
It's very interesting to hear you speak with such clarity and passion, even after so many years, about I guess this was your master's thesis?
And subsequently, my PhD also.
Oh.
I went into marine consulting as a way to broaden my footprint. So it helped that I was at a full-service naval architecture and marine engineering and transportation consulting firm. Boutique firm, stayed consciously small. To their credit, they didn't want to grow through boom times and then mass layoffs. To this day, I've been so positively influenced by my early youth in the US and coming across such kind folks, good-hearted folks in the Midwest, known for its good nature. As much as people know that, the US can be a cutthroat place where money talks. Even at the firm that I worked with, good people. But I also think that they put it well. I was too ambitious for my own good in many ways. I was restless, wanted to go beyond this. But I wasn't like the typical desi in the US who thinks that, hey, green card, when do I get a green card? And how do I go about this there? I loved my life in Seattle, where I was putting my roots down, working at this consulting firm. There's still a consciously 40-50% firm, even though they'd been around for 5 decades then. Had my heart in the right place, had causes that I felt dearly about. So I took on volunteer and then leadership roles at an NGO, served on its international board. So became active in the community. And I thought, what better way to make an impact by building on that, maybe starting a business, building an organization, leaving a legacy. And then I paid the price for not having cared about permanent residency, even though I could have filed within week one of finishing my doctorate. And 3 years later, the wait for a green card was non-linear. But I bided my time, and while biding my time, I thought that as part of my own continued professional growth, it may be good to get these broader skills in management and entrepreneurship. Today, I would tell folks, if you want to be an entrepreneur, the best thing that you could do is to join a startup, join a growing startup, join a well-funded startup, probably after Series B, where there is not, there's still a lot of growth, and you're not another cog in the wheel, but you have a lot of responsibility that you can take on, a lot of visibility among investors also, so that when you're ready to go and launch your own thing, you'd have some people who've seen what you can do, and you'd learn so much.
Yeah, starting up is the university of hard knocks.
Yeah.
You learn faster than anything else.
Yeah, and ask me about all the
Hard
things
knocks.
that I've learned the hard way by my own mistakes. Fast forward, I decided while I was waiting for permanent residency to come through and all the career mobility that would come through with that, I attended a weekend MBA program at the Chicago Booth School of Business, and found it very enriching. Very enriching. It was a highlight of my program to get to apprentice at what is now one of the leading angel investment networks in the US, Hyde Park, in the Midwest at least, Hyde Park Angels, that was supported by the schools, founded by alumni of the program. And I got to be on the other side of the table, helping to screen startups that were applying for funding, helping to curate and present select startups on a quarterly basis, on a weekly basis, and culminating in a quarterly presentation before the angels in the network. And going beyond that, I was so into it, also getting the opportunity to invest in a startup that I saw promise in, getting to be on the deal team, and getting to work with the startup post-funding because it was a portfolio company. With all the goodwill that I learned, and I did outstanding work at HBA, I had doors being graciously opened into venture capital for me. A lot of goodwill banked.
This is what, 2008, 2007?
Going into 2009. I had mentors who were graciously opening doors. I could well have joined a fund, but no, मुझे खुद startup करना था. I wanted to do a startup of my own. And the problem that most excited me, the opportunity that most excited me was related to the problem that I had personally known for the previous decade. I was 36 then, in early 2009, in the home stretch of my Booth MBA. By then, I'd got my green card, so I had the mobility to. It came in during the midway point of my program, conveniently between quarters in the second half of December. So I quit my job, locked the doors, switched the lights off, packed what ultimately were 13 suitcases, and I moved to within 2 blocks of campus and finished the second half of my program, effectively full time. And I said before that it was very enriching to get that experiential learning opportunity while going through my Booth MBA. And being in my 30s, mid-30s already, taking stock of how there was this problem that was unsolved for me. I was doing well professionally, but personally, I had not found my wife yet. I had been still single, even though I was not only open to the idea of finding a life partner from my mid-20s, but was proactive about it. I wasn't one of those folks who would think, outsource it to, delegate it to mom and dad. They'd find somebody, I'd fly to India and return with a bride. My parents chose each other for themselves a generation earlier, so we always had that agency that we find somebody on our own. And I thought that I did in my mid-20s. Fell in love with a sweetheart from the American South, found her online. We found each other online. And I'm glad that there were online options already in the first wave of the web 1.0 as we refer to them these days. Because the kind of person that I was looking for would be tough to find in the course of everyday life. Very discerning preferences. I'll not dwell on it. don't mean to digress. But what do? No surprise that I had to deal with a breakup. Allowed hai. I took my time licking my wounds and making peace with the breakup and being comfortable with giving my heart again, risking giving my heart again because it comes with the risk of heartbreak. I found somebody I thought at 30, again conveniently online. And this time I had more means that I could invest in coming up with a lovely ring and a surprise wedding proposal, and then going on to think of what kind of wedding. She was German-Canadian, another long-distance relationship for a while. Even ideating on baby names that would sit well with her culture and mine, and drafting a wedding guest list. But again, I came to know heartbreak. And I would do what the typical consumer would do, which is if you get tired of the food at this restaurant, oh, never again going there, maybe trying another platform, or thinking that, oh, I'm not eating outside. Maybe the best way is to cook your own meals at home. I'm talking of the analogy. Let me just find somebody organically. How? I was not into the bar hopping or night clubbing routine, the partying lifestyle. There's a time and bandwidth for that. So focused on my professional growth. Yeah. So how at least make time to socialize with friends twice a month, or make time for activities that I would enjoy, whether it's hiking to the Sierra Club or a running group or a vegetarian potluck or a reading group. So you find somebody with similar interests and worldviews. It's tough. And coming to realize that, it's a jungle out there. But then thinking that if this is not working, this shit isn't working, let me try something else. This is not working, let me try something else. Or taking a backseat altogether, and I need to detox from all of this. I see that happening. It's just in every generation. Let me focus on something else. Let me come back some months later. I had at least the good fortune of not having family breathing down my neck. Although I remember giving what I describe as the speech of my life then, when I was 31 maybe. And my mom asking me, while on a long distance call, I was in Seattle, and I still remember where I was in my house then, my lovely new house that I had custom built. And, oh beta, what about you? When will you get settled? My older brothers were married by then. And I made a case that, hey, look, it's not as if I don't have any ideas of getting married. You've known, she even sent token gold earrings to my first American girlfriend, who was not called out for it. A co-worker noticed, hey, you must have an Indian boyfriend because you're wearing these shiny 22 karat yellow earrings. Indians go for 22 karat yellow. Americans, maybe 18 karat most. 14 karat, that sells better with their skin. Caucasians with their lighter complexion. So you know that I've had not just intent, but even demonstrated intent to find a life partner, having chosen not just once, but twice. What will be. And you may worry that I'm not giving it due time and attention, but I also have my aspirations. Kuch karke dikhana hai life mein, kuch banna hai, want to be something, want to do something with my life, meaningful. And I told her that my wish was that I would not get so caught up with what is going on that I would not be like a horse with blinders, or even if I were, I would at least notice this pari that might cross my scene, that I might notice someone, wow, there was this woman all along, that my eyes were open. And I said that, of course, I would let you know when I would find that person. I would hope that I would find her sooner rather than later. But please don't keep bringing it up, because it only reminds me of the thing that is missing in my life.
Your heartbreak.
No, not so much heartbreak, but don't remind me that life would be more fulfilling with the right person. But today I counsel folks, younger folks, that I would rather wish that you were, when you're 29 and stressing about, oh, I'm going to be 30, I might be seen as an old maid. I would rather that you're 31 and still discerning and single, rather than get hastily hitched at 30. Because look at the irony. I got married late in life. I found the person that I eventually married at 38, just shy of my 39th birthday. After a whirlwind courtship, this was a couple of years into building Jodi365. So I founded the parent company in Chicago in the spring of 2009. And it was clear for me at the very beginning that I have to be in India. This has to have a presence in India too, for a combination of reasons. I saw that, first of all, my mindset had shifted. I was no longer like the average consumer of these platforms. I thought that here I'm going through this top tier MBA program. I'm investing in screening and investing in startups. I'm recognizing this unsolved problem, which is affecting not just me, but so many in my peer group. This underserved segment could use a better solution. Let me go and do a better job than these bozos out there, the prevailing matrimonial sites. While also recognizing that people in my peer group were not quite ready for a Chat Mangni Pat Pya kind of solution, who would, as in, get Chat Mangni Pat Pya, quick engagement, quick wedding, who would want to get to know somebody over time, at least organically, if not organically, semi-arranged.
The way you are describing your own journey, it feels a lot more human. And it feels like this is a story that's happening all around us. And everybody is navigating through these intertwining career, aspiration, pressure to sort of make something of yourself, leave some legacy. At the same time, you have to spend time finding a partner and deal with the setbacks in that journey. And how that ties up with things like, oh, but I have to wait for 3 years for my green card, and oh, but I have to wait for this other thing to finish, and the constraints that life offers at various stages.
It's a useful summary because I take storytelling quite seriously, and there may have been a couple of unfinished thoughts over there. But true, it's a real problem. I remember being on an H-1B visa, and while going on dates with potential girlfriend or people who may be wife material, understandably being seen as a flight risk. Oh, what if he loses his job? What if he decides to head back to India? And that problem is even more. And not just even if somebody were in India. So I was saying that I counsel people to take their time. So my solution was not to introduce an alternative that took the form of a dating platform, because I would remind myself that this is still India, where on Valentine's Day to this day, you have the politically motivated outfits, the bucks and the sangees, who would want to make a point of harassing people who may be walking hand in hand and getting them forcibly married. Either call her your sister or make her your wife, to make a show out of it. Who would go and smash
some glass
show windows of Hallmark. Oh, Valentine's Day, you're poisoning the Indian youth. Chase men and women out of these cafes in Kerala, because what's this? It's a meetup place for dates. What is this? And chase women wearing jeans out of pubs in Bangalore. A smart alternative would be a hybrid between the prevailing matrimonial sites and emerging dating sites. So that was the genesis of Jodi365.
Nice.
With the tagline to this day, find the right partner, even while we made it a personalized service. Find the right partner at your own pace. It was important for me to have a presence in India because the times were changing so much in India, and young people were getting so much more agency to decide where they studied, where they worked, living away from home, not having a curfew as in, hey, you've been out until past 10 p.m. Where were you, with whom, doing what? When you have the kind of independence that comes with being on your own economically, you also have social independence, whom you choose to hang out with, whom you choose to get to know potentially romantically, whom you choose to date and whom you choose to marry, and on what time frame. And with all this flux that are happening, I thought that there was need for a smart, sensible alternative without letting people to get drowned in the swamp of emerging dating apps. And I stayed true to that positioning, even as I saw, and I look back, it's a dozen years ago, no, more than 2012, when, to their credit, there was a top tier VC firm globally that had an outpost in India already. To their credit, they recognized that the so-called matrimonial space was ripe for disruption. Their words. And they had wanted to back something in this space. Look at it, huh? There are still investors making bets on newer apps to this day. We're talking generation later, because there's a problem that is not going away. It's evergreen. I say this, if you're in education, if you're in health, if you're in matrimony, these are fundamental areas where there'll always be demand.
Yeah.
It's just that the solution will need to adapt with the times. And people may have thought that matrimonial sites had solved the problem.
Yeah.
No, those are I unleash on them. They're just glorified databases.
Actually, in just in addition to how you chose to phrase it, I feel like anybody who comes and says this is a solved problem, I want to tell them, look, it is solved for now.
Yeah.
In 2 years, it's going to be a new problem.
Yeah.
There's nothing as a solved problem.
So well put. Because in a pitch deck, I don't need a pitch deck anymore because I can tell VCs and say, screw you, I control my own destiny. I'm running a profitable, successful business and have enough growth that I can fund through profits, inshallah, or tatastu. So, to their credit, they said that they'd been looking at emerging players in this space. I'm not sure how they came to know about Jodi365 because we were not trying to be everything for everybody. You end up being nothing for nobody. To budding entrepreneurs, one of these learned lessons, which is pick a beachhead. Don't try to be everything for everybody. You'll get lost in the flood. So the beachhead that I picked was catering to this underserved segment of well-educated, accomplished single professionals. There has been a segment with high intent that has appreciated Jodi365. And I wanted to stay true to this because I could relate to it. People who are too busy to put themselves out there. So we tell them that we'd be your concierge, we'd be your facilitator, we'd be your trusted intermediary, we'd do the heavy lifting, we'd do the searching, the screening, the curating, not just in our curated database. Because I keep it real, man. One of the ways in which you earn people's trust is by being transparent, keeping it real, being straight. I don't claim to have a monopoly on all the good singles out there. And I say also in ways that make sense, don't see me as a shopkeeper, peddling with an inventory of finite profiles that may be gathering dust. Somebody may have come on the platform 12 weeks earlier and may have already gotten to know somebody, begun getting to know somebody to the extent that they say, hey, no, I'm not open to new applications.
Yeah, the better analogy is like a librarian who can help you find a nice book.
I ask people to think of me as a headhunter in much the same way that an executive search firm operates.
Yeah.
I like the librarian analogy too. If I have to fetch you a book, I would, but I wouldn't work with other libraries. I refuse to work with marriage bureaus. I refuse to work with other personalized services because I don't know how careful they would be in keeping
what is the internal process.
Yeah. And people come to us with all kinds of grievances about other players. I don't need to broadcast any of them. They're the usual suspects. And it's been both. I'll go back to something that you said earlier. No solution is permanent. The related thing is there are so many flavors out there, even among the personalized services. When you see all the garbage, harsh word, when you see all the garbage out there, there are stereotypes about how this industry also operates. It's both a challenge and an opportunity. An opportunity because if you're only a half-decent human being, half-competent business, you're so much at a higher bar than these idiots out there. But the challenge is that you think you're also in the same industry. Would I have to deal with what I've had to deal with other players? And it's okay.
Over the last 15, 16 years, have you had to reinvent your own solutions?
Constantly, because the space has also evolved. Starting with realizing that, how can I not keep going back to humbling lessons? I recognize that the matrimonial sites were operating as catalogs of profiles.
Yeah, I think people also have sort of a checklist mindset.
Yeah. And then I thought that, hey, you're just going by these criteria, these biodata-based matches. And I said that I'm going to match people, not biodata. And I'm so grateful. I must have come across as an earnest young man because I reached out to a professor at an Ivy League, not Ivy League, Penn State. He was a researcher in the field of personality. And he had code base for what is a well-established model for understanding personality. That is known as the Big Five model or the Ocean model. Ocean is the theory of
OCE and
OCE. For those who don't know it, there are these
conscientiousness.
Ocean for openness, C for conscientiousness, E for extroversion, A for agreeableness, N for neuroticism. And within each of these dimensions, 6 facets. So 30 different facets to one's personality. Empirical. So there is a huge database of people who've taken it. And I say taken this personality inventory. It's not a personality test. And I appreciated the distinction. It's not a test of what your personality is. It's an inventory of where you rank, how agreeable are you compared to the population base. How neurotic are you compared to this population base? And I remember taking that inventory myself, and feeling pleased that on the dimension of anger, so one of the facets, I forget under which dimension it may have come, and I may be butchering facet versus dimension. I was in the 18th percentile. I thought, okay, not bad for somebody who aspires to a stoic, ideal, Zen state. I thought that, wow, this would be so helpful to include in the product, because if you are to find somebody who may be right for you, how can you even know who's right for you if you don't know yourself first? So let me help you know yourself first.
Nice.
At the same time, sounds great. I'm coming, there's a but coming, which is how humble I was. I reached out to him. I said that, hey, I would love to incorporate. This is what I'm heading back to India to build out of India. And I'd already founded the company. Again, I must have reached out with respect, with a personal connection. And I said, hey, I would love to build something like this. He handed me that code.
Oh, wow. So that went directly into your product.
Yeah. India didn't care. That's maybe harsh to say that, but yeah, India didn't effing care. So accustomed to buy data approach. So while it was still an option, we deprecated it. But the early idea was some people care about horoscope matching, because it's sort of a black box in which you say that, okay, based on your nakshatra, based on your rashi, you may be of this personality, quite likely to be a match with somebody of this personality, in the Vedic horoscope equivalent of Western zodiac sun signs. Oh, you're a Libra, you may be a good match for this sign. You may be a Leo, you may be a match with another sign. And we thought that, okay, while respecting people, what the market wants, without evangelizing horoscope matching, I take a neutral view of it. You can choose the personality-based model, or you can base a horoscope-based model. I even had a handshake deal with the largest provider of horoscope software through the established matrimonial sites. In my competitive landscape deck, I talked about how there have been so many pivots among so many players. You have the dating apps on one end, you have the matrimonial apps on one end, and on the other axis, I have serious versus casual. And in one quadrant, you have the Tinders, and then a Bumble trying to be an alternative to the Tinder, and then you have a Hinge that tore itself apart.
This is the same as the sedans wanting to be the SUVs, and the SUVs wanting to be the sedans.
And some trying to have everything under their umbrella. So you have a Honda that...
Mini SUV sedan.
And then, they came out with the Lexus. And Honda, you have the Accord, and then Toyota has a Camry for people who want to go beyond the Civics and the Corollas. And then you have the Acura and the Lexus competing against the Mercedes. Whereas it's easier for a Mercedes or a BMW because they're
just
pure play right on the brand positioning. But BMW, they got out the Mini Cooper. Get the young ones early.
It's beautiful.
Oh, where all one can take this. But staying focused as best as I can. The space has evolved so much. Most of those players crashed and burned. And the survivors, somebody thought that they could raise a war chest and outcompete the emerging Tinder clones. It may have been Helion that invested $5.6 million into what was V. V took a lot of money, truly madly. They started off as this is a cringy tagline, such much love. I'm surprised that I still remember. But why would it not be back? To his credit, one of the co-founders was also a co-founder of Make My Trip, right? Tried and tested, been there, done that. As against some of these other glorified entrepreneurs who will never raise money from VCs again. And they go on becoming influencers because they have a brand. So the space has been constantly evolving, and we've had to keep up with the times, not be seen as these dating apps, be differentiated from these traditional matrimonial sites, but while building a scalable platform, so freaking difficult.
Yeah.
Unlike traditional marketplaces where you can not worry about cost of acquiring a customer, because once you get somebody to your e-commerce platform, you can monetize them for the life. You get them to, why is the 18 to 34 segment most valued by advertisers? You get them to buy your brand of toothpaste or shaving gel. You have them as a customer for life. Get the young women, even as they become mothers who control the shopping budgets in their household, they will be loyal to your brand. In this case, there's no true network effect in matchmaking. You look at the data from public companies, the average shelf life of a user is 5.5 months. These days, your retention rate at the end of 1 month is 25% if you're doing well. So people come, if they don't find a match, if they don't like the matches they see, you lose them right away. And if they find a match, you lose them not just eventually, you lose them sooner rather than later. So the better you are as a platform that helps them find a match, the better you lose a paying customer. So there are these moral hazards, there are these ingrained disincentives, not unlike the misaligned interest between entrepreneurs and VCs. VCs want exits. Entrepreneurs may want to build for the long term.
Yeah.
So
the right way to build that business is you use this service and hopefully leave us and quickly and never come back.
But then it's not great for the business. So why investors got excited about dating apps is that it's not a one-shot model, recurring revenues. And unlike matrimony, where typically it's a one-shot deal. But it was, and here it's not just that you're not getting somebody for the long term. You got to keep replenishing into supply. Got to keep advertising, marketing expenses can be 30 to 40% of revenues, right? It's high. You got to keep replenishing supply to get new users into the system. I struggled with building a scalable platform. I'm not ashamed to admit it. It is brutal. It's brutal.
We've spoken about your business a little too much, and we'll come back to the rest. We glossed over it a little bit about your family, about your brothers.
Yeah.
And this year, your brother got a national award, right?
One of my two brothers.
One of your two brothers.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that moment? It must have been a very special moment.
It was a beautiful moment.
And I realized as you're speaking that, it must not have come naturally to him either, right? All the three brothers must have struggled quite a bit in your careers.
Yeah. And as did my parents. And interesting to be having this discussion today because I'm fresh from a high school reunion. There were 30 of us who showed up, out of maybe 120, 30 in the class. Everybody's had their struggle, personal, professional. Everybody's been fighting a battle. In my family, one of the first things that comes up is, privileged family. Yeah,
It doesn't sound like it at all. From the history that you narrated.
Yeah. Reality is, if I could go about living life in the bubble that I'm in. Despite also keeping it real and say that I have given up a lot to build this business, to go on this journey. At 30, I built a lovely home for myself, a custom home for myself. Had a comfortable life, but I felt unfulfilled. And I didn't want to end up going through my full career and being sent home, here's a gold watch, thank you for your service for the last few decades. My father was kick-ass in this respect, go-getter. What better way than to pay tribute to him than by talking about how I probably take after him in this regard. Dynamic personality. would have been sweet if he were around to witness a son get such a huge national honor without any lobbying, without taking sides and currying favor with whatever the prevailing administration may be, going about one's life, following one's passion, being a good human being. That is what I'm proud of Ajit, because I see it as more an acknowledgement of his innate goodness and even his success. Oh, an unlikely actor, an accidental actor, but he's good at his craft. But it's his Q factor. There's this term in marketing in the US among advertisers, big brand ambassadors who have these high Q quotient. Ray Romano, he was supposed to have a lovable personality, the stand-up comedian, and behind the Romano show.
Everybody loves
Raymond, right? Yeah, not Romano show. Ray Raymond. Yeah, everybody loves Raymond. So Ajit has, I think, and Rajnikant, right, revered the kind of love and affection from fans. So it doesn't matter, and he says this himself, he's had more flops than hits, all the love of his fans. And people who see him as somebody who sets a good example. So thank our parents for it, for striving to raise us well.
Did the three of you, while growing up, sort of egg each other on? Like, did you contribute to each other's success by
egg each other on? In a way, yes. I'll come to that. Contribute to each other's growth, surely. And here I have to get into specifics. Ajit and I were close in age, a year and a half apart. And it's only in my adult years that I reflected on how that may have influenced my personality in a way that may be written in psychology books. I was the youngest one, always trying to show that, hey, I can do this too. So he would ride a bike. Oh, I want to show that I can ride this bike too. So trying to do things that I was not quite ready for. And when the kind of things that we would do, parents would be horrified if they were to see their kids do this these days. Climbing up ladders to the second floor, external ladders to a terrace, and hanging off sunshades, building a ramp, using a wooden stool and a plank to create a ramp, riding one cycle up the ramp and going off it.
Seeing how far you can go.
And just taking off and landing. And I remember taking turns and from our kid bike, and the ramp gave way just as I got my wheel onto it, and I was sort of midair, and I crashed, and I got a huge lump on my forehead. My mom was so distraught, and I felt bad because we had relatives visiting at the time, and they had made plans to watch a movie. My mom was a fan of this late actor Anil Kumar. His most famous role may be that of the jailer, the warden, the inspector in Sholay, who had his arms cut off by Gabbar Singh. Movie is 50 years old, milestone movie in Indian cinema. She had to skip it because she had to tend to this little kid her littlest, who got fever immediately. And yeah, we did those things because I was looking, oh, I can do that too. So it may be part of my personality to show that, hey, I can do it too. And compound this with the immigrant mindset, going to a new entity, new country, new society.
In fact, you must have, when you went abroad, Sabir Bhatia also hadn't happened. Hotmail hadn't happened.
Correct. That came in 96, I think. Yeah. So where you feel the need to prove oneself is the immigrant mindset. So I may have been influenced by being the littlest, and not just the littlest, but having a brother who was not that far apart that you think that, hey, I want to be able to do what he's doing. Oh, he's getting to do this already. Why not me? In much the same way that even today, oh, my elder brother has a smartphone. I need a smartphone too, right? So you fight for things before you may be ready for it. So you get pushed and challenged. Although he was the more prodigious, would take to things way ahead of his time. My eldest brother and I would be at loggerheads, so similar to like polarities repelling, and he, in ways that he may not have realized, kept me in check. He bore the brunt of parenting mistakes. Every parent makes mistakes. And then you realize when the second comes, oh, we should have done things a little differently. So maybe let go a little bit over here. And we 3 boys were a handful. The 2 younger ones would do some shit, and he would bear the brunt of, oh, you were the elder one, you should have reined them in, or how could you guys screw up in this way? We had a strict dad who believed in not sparing the rod, or you end up spoiling the child.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. But then I need to balance that with how we had friends from school days who did a double take when they noticed a huge contrast from the time that we were teenagers. Wait, you guys used to have a terrifying, strict father, and you guys are so chill. We had a relationship that was like friends. We were very free. And maybe they realized that you got to let go. And they gave us so much freedom in ways that parents would worry about. What if they make wrong choices? In contrast, both our parents would say this: if you want to drink alcohol, drink in front of us. If you want to smoke, smoke in front of us. Because it would hurt us if we were to hear, hey, look at what your sons are doing. Right? Own it. So I love this parallel to the Spider-Man lines. What is it? With great power comes great responsibility. Something that I didn't realize then was with great trust comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
They trust us so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we influenced, at least I can speak of how I was influenced by my 2 brothers.
It's a lovely place to stop. Thank you so much for sharing that. A little bit of family history. We have a lot about your company and your journey. Any parting thoughts, Anil?
Well, I wish we didn't have to part because I've so enjoyed this. But then, yeah, there are also other matters to attend to for you as well. Here are a few parting thoughts. One for those who are thinking about professional life, maybe even IIT. I will tie it to what you asked me earlier, my first impressions, 1988, day of 5 billion event at IIT Madras, and having this dream that I will get into IIT. And I got into IIT after a year of preparing for it after high school. And even then, realizing during the placement window, what do you call it, between getting a rank and deciding which IIT and which track, which
counseling
major, counseling window. Thank you. I learned from previous years data of what are the closing rank and which IIT in which branch, that I could have got a metallurgy at IIT Kharagpur. But no, I wanted to go into this campus, IIT Madras. Not wanting to be a local, right? This beautiful campus. And who knows how different my path may have been had I done metallurgy. We have a famous metallurgy graduate from the class of 93, IIT Kharagpur. Interestingly, Sundar Pichai and I took physics lessons in the same classroom.
Is it?
In 89. And
he was from Chennai.
I was from Chennai, and he and another classmate of his, who from school, who chose IIT Madras. He got a higher rank and he joined mechanical engineering in IITM, and he went on to be a professor here. And he's someone I have had a good rapport with to this day.
Oh, if you went to coaching with Sundar Pichai, can you settle the question of which school he went to? Because I think it's a big debate on which.
Yeah, so you can ask Shanksu. I was talking about his classmate. Maybe Jawahar Vidyalaya.
Okay.
Yeah. Why? What's the debate? I didn't think that there was a debate.
Because everybody kept changing his school on Wikipedia.
They say, right? Success has 1,000 fathers. Yeah. I would tell folks what this wise chemistry tutor told me, who was one of the 3 professors that I went to for JE coaching. When I was bummed out in reporting to him that, hey, I got a rank, but it may be naval architecture. I'm not even sure what naval architecture is. I haven't forgotten what he said, which is that, yeah, sure, it is important to, what you do is important, but more important than what you do is striving to be the best at what you do. These days, though, I'll challenge him a little bit some more. Pick a field that has so much growth potential. Because at that time, I think of the topper in my naval architecture class. He went hardcore into computer science. and did well enough to get into the master's program at Carnegie Mellon. Imagine he would have been competing with the brightest of IIT CS grads, and has gone on to do very well for himself professionally in big tech in the US. Imagine getting into CS when the internet was happening, right? So pick areas that are booming, pick areas that are growing, because you will have outsized contributions. Parting thoughts, there's so much that I could share. I would tell folks, you have no excuse for, in this information age, for making dumb decisions. You can tap the wisdom of the crowd. Anybody is just a DM away, a polite message away. I have to be careful. I have DMs open on Twitter, but I don't have the ban. People come asking the kind of questions that I wish I could give bandwidth to, but I have a business to run. My professional responsibilities to my clients, to my teammates. But I say, have a curiosity mindset. Keep learning. Keep growing professionally. I don't want to get into the cliched first principles kind of thinking, but think big. I would like to think big and do something with life. Think about building. Because when I was going through my MBA program, this is a nice way to close. There was a professor who was quite popular, the kind who would be featured in Business Week as one of the top business school professors in the US. So he offered courses in entrepreneurship and also venture capital on commercializing innovation. He was someone who earned his stripes as a VC, and he also had this adjunct appointment at the business school. So he would tell folks, one of the signature lines towards the end of the course was, and who are the folks, who are the students who had been doing well in their careers, that they chose to return to school for an MBA to have even more stellar post-MBA career. Don't settle for an affluent life of quiet desperation. That was the freaking life that I chose not to settle for. I was comfortable, doing well, but I didn't want a comfortable life. I chose to build and make an impact, add value. So I would encourage folks to look at ways in which you can add value. Thanks for having me.
Nice. Thank you for coming. It's very nice to hear you. You have a quiet sense of self-assured very storytelling way of speaking.
Thank you. गोल के घुमा के लेता हूँ, but thank you.
Okay, thank you for watching. If you like the podcast, leave a comment, share, subscribe, follow Anil on his social media and his company on social media. That's it for today. See you next time.